This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. And I have massage establishment on the top of my page.
Yeah,
16.
so that, it's been corrected here. It's something weird where we have an autofill mechanism and be on our templates, and because Councilor Perry's massage ordinance was the first thing ever used on the template, it started autofilling. So we are working to correct that with Microsoft, by which I mean I'm trying to figure out how to fix Microsoft.
Just strike the word regarding licensing regulation.
First few things. So we discussed a number of different options. I did want to highlight this. It is a matter of law that meetings shall be held at 6 p.m. on the second Thursday or is otherwise posted. This makes it superfluous language. I don't know if generally speaking, the council wants to, if they ever want to regularly not meet on Thursdays, this would have to change in the future. I just wanted to give you a heads up. In any case, police chief, it has been struck because it's placed later. We then get to the rules of procedure. A number of rules were struck, partly for superfluousness and partly because it was my understanding that a number of councilors wanted to have the rules of order go through resolutions so that you could change them more quickly. Having the rules of order be in the ordinance doesn't make a whole lot of sense legally speaking because they're internal to you.
So are we stopping you with our opinions as we go? Are we going through the whole thing? Are we doing page by page? So explain this thing to me, please.
Council, the chairman asked me to go through all the changes from the top first.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Sorry.
So quorum, deleted that. Quorum's already governed by state law, so this is redundant. Addressing the presiding officer, I thought that was just a little bit, if you guys want to make it a law that he be called, we can keep that, but it just, again, it seemed a little bit of an anachronism here. Appeals from the decision. The appeals from the decision of the presiding officer are already provided in whatever rules you guys adopt. So that was just something that would get cut naturally. Conduct at meetings, don't be crazy, of course. The committees we have not changed. That's something I know that some people are interested in discussing, but it was kind of beyond the scope of the initial amendments because we wanted to focus on compliance with the Attorney General's recommendations. So moving all the way down, we now get, this was one thing that the committee members had commented on when we last talked about this in October. Sorry, we're now on page 6 of 16. If not referred to the governing body by committee, 4 councilors or the mayor may place an item before the governing body. This is to clarify that in this way we don't, the current resolution governing rules provide for more than, provide for 5, which pushes us into quorum territory. So we were going to make it 4 and put that into law to be very clear that any 4 councilors can get together and bring something to the full council, no big deal. All right, so every officer and appointed officer, I'll stop here for explanation. So the Attorney General's opinion contemplating state law contemplates 3 different types of positions within city government. First is the elected officials, councilors, the mayor. The next would be appointed officers, and then there are employees. Employees without a merit system are hired and fired through the mayor with concurrence of the council. We've opted into a merit system. State case law has made it clear that merit system doesn't apply to appointees. It only applies to employees. So with that distinction is made, we now say that the oath has, and then state law requires the oath be given to the elected and appointed before taking office, which is, there's a jumble within state law because you actually have 10 days. And then if you don't take it within 10 days, but we just make it as clear as possible here, even though state law is a little confusing.
Excuse me. Can we check to see if Councilor Perry does not have any sound? Can we check with him real quick?
He's not on.
Does it show?
Well, do you have the right information on the, I sent him a picture of this because he needed that. Is this the right information for this workshop?
Yes, ma'am.
The right number on
He
the
says
back?
he's on. He just can't hear.
Well, we don't even see him up there.
We're
He's
not
on
muted.
by phone. He's not on by video.
I wanted to see his face.
Even then, it would still say phone.
Yeah, do you want to? Are those muted or on?
They're on. On, can you help me troubleshoot? Do you see anything?
Is he calling or is he,
He's calling.
and normally does show up?
Yeah, he'd show up if he was called.
And
Show up.
It says that I'm on, but no sound whatsoever.
can he, ask
Turn
me?
it off and turn it back on.
Talk to us.
Log out of the link and just use if you can access the link on the agenda.
That's the one I gave him.
It should show up.
I gave him a picture of it.
Yep, that's what I did too. 6905573. Yep, that's the one I sent him to. Go ahead.
The link from the. Text it.
Go ahead. I've already done it once, but go ahead.
Yeah, he should be showing up right there. He's on-
If he was here?
Yeah, he's not on, right?
Go ahead. Well,
Do you want me to log off and log back on?
no, sir. Go ahead. We'll
Okay, so bonds are required for certain people that'll be discussed within their respective placements. So the creation of the offices, the Attorney General says that there are certain groups that are officers, therefore they're not subject to the merit system. Those would be the clerk, the treasurer/finance officer, the chief of police, and the attorney. Now, the city auditor was something that was included in by the two people who had originally made the legal request. So that's not a required position, but it can be very preferable, and most major cities in the state have such a position. In any case, the appointees of the manager, clerk, treasurer/finance officer, police chief, city auditor, city attorney. The governing body at its direction may, in lieu of having an in-house office of the city attorney, contract with outside counsel. This is again, literally every other government that has our form of government in the state does that. They either have a appointee or an outside counsel. So this is the standard SOP. Okay, terms. This is redundant with state law, but we just want, that was asked to specifically put in the manager and the auditor, or it's the auditor again is up for debate, but the manager by law is indefinite. All other positions are with every new governing body. So technically speaking, they could be appointed every 2 years. But the default rule is if no appointments made, you just carry your position as if nothing has changed. Okay. This again, B and C are all just citing the state law. And then making explicit that contract is the preferred method for salarying and compensating the appointed officers. By state law, ordinance is required for counselors to pay themselves. Okay, let's get to the clerk. The clerk shall have all duties prescribed by law in addition to duties given by the council. We use the most generic language for the clerk because the clerk's actual duties within the statute are all over the place. And some, depending on whether, for example, we opt into the regular November elections, the clerk's election duties are no longer necessary and it's not prescribed by law. So we wouldn't want to put it all in. In any case, the distinction here we're making, and this is in something that with Councilor Perry, no, okay. This was partly in question to what Councilor Perry put up. So how's it supposed to work with an appointee and the merit system? Well, it works pretty much like any other business. The appointee is the manager, and if the manager has a problem, they write up somebody and the manager has to be the one to do it. Again, the merit system is its own ordinance and it is very clear. All hiring and firing and discipline go through the office of the manager. So if the manager wants to, and this we'll talk about in the manager, but if the manager wants to let go of a merit system employee, that's 100% his prerogative. He does have a consultation requirement that I'll show you in a second. But the officers, they're there as a matter of law, but so we're striking a balance between the council's desire for a very full merit system, so it's not political for the basic employees, and state laws requiring these offices be appointed. So they will work under the appointees, but discipline, hiring, and firing will all go through the manager. And of course, the manager, like the appointees, all report to the council. So if they're not playing the way you like, you just tell them to behave. Okay, licenses. This was just, this is just state law again, creeping in here to remind everybody that technically the clerk issues all licenses. So while community development.
I think what's happening is when you link into the link provided on the agenda, it takes you to the city council meeting.
Gotcha.
You are on the legal committee.
Yep. Okay, that's what I was worried. So let me.
That's what we.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop.